What was that?
I said nothing.
Oh, well, anyways, I think that's a good way to start. What's up, everyone?
I was like, wait, I'm confused.
Manny, what's up, man? It's official. The World Series teams are set. No more speculation of who might go, who isn't going to go. Clearly, I was wrong about the Tampa Bay Rays. They are now in the World Series. Whether or not I think they're going to win the World Series, I'll get to that in a moment. But why don't we recap predictions versus outcome compared? Let's compare that real quick.
It was close, man. 2 Game 7s. I needed to win out in order to just tie you,
Mm-hmm.
and the Dodgers pulled through, and you win, man. You win. I picked the Rays out of necessity. You picked the Astros. I win that series. You picked the Dodgers. I picked the Braves out of necessity,
Mm-hmm.
and the Dodgers won that series. Although it was close, like both like the Rays almost blew a 3-0 lead, a la Red Sox, and the Braves had a 3-1 lead. They
Yeah.
blew that. So congratulations to you, man. You're the champion.
Thank you. I don't
Now
know
we
what.
have nothing to play for the World Series. So that's it for us. Check us out next time. No, just kidding.
So about that Astros and Rays series, I gotta say, man, and I was gonna save this for a little later, but I gotta say, man, like the Astros made baseball exciting for that series.
They
Like
did.
it, I'm not an Astro. I'm not gonna ride and die for these Astros players, but there's something about George Springer, Altuve. I know Bregman didn't really do anything. And even Carlos Correa, who I find annoying. Like there's something about those players and what we thought they were being like superstar talents and them performing in the playoffs. To me, it made it really exciting. It kind of reminded me about the Patriots. I think what the Patriots have been caught red-handed doing in the past is worse because
Mhm.
they recorded a team prior to the Super Bowl. Like they recorded their practice. I think it was the Rams, right?
Yeah.
And it's worse. But having the Patriots with Brady and Belichick in the playoffs, like that team in the playoffs always made it more exciting. And I think people just get past and they just appreciate an exciting team. And I think that's what the Astros could possibly be. And if
Mhm.
and if they're this legit as they played in this series, then I imagine them being in the playoffs next year as well. Like I'll put a team like that ahead of Oakland. So I wasn't rooting for the except for this prediction that I had on this show. I wasn't rooting for the Astros, but I have to admit that they made it more exciting as a baseball fan to watch them in the playoffs. So
I'll
take that however you see. I don't know.
I'll go a step further, man. I got to a point where I wanted the Rays to win. I know that you picked the Astros and I picked the Rays. And I didn't really pick the Rays because I wanted to. It was out of necessity, like I said. But
Mhm.
I got to like I started texting you guys after Correa went up to Framber Valdez to like pump him up after he walked Yandy Diaz. It was like a 10 pitch at bat or something.
Yeah.
And Yandy started like looking at Framber like there was beef or some shit. And I remember texting you guys saying like this guy plays angry. Like I love how I love Carlos Correa's energy in this postseason, and but I understand why people can't stand him because many times I don't understand. I can't stand him either. He drives me crazy.
Yeah.
But he's that kind of player that he puts the team on his shoulders and he carries them. I mean, he pretty much carried them throughout that ALCS. I feel like without his big home runs and big defensive plays, they don't get to that point. Um, but yeah, so I got to a point where I was like, man, I wouldn't be so mad if the Astros actually win this series because they do make it's exciting. You want to watch for some reason. You either want to watch because you want to watch them fail, or because they just have this energy around them, especially with Dusty Baker on in the dugout. I don't want to be one of these corny like, oh, love Dusty Baker, the old school manager, yippity doo dah. But but I don't know. It's just
Yes.
it was a fun series to watch.
Yeah. Seeing Dusty Baker do his little like shimmy dance and everything
Yeah,
after
you look like
they
Bill Cosby.
yeah after that Correa home run, I think in Game 6 or whatever it was I liked that. I enjoyed watching that. I'm a Dusty fan, even though I don't really know what he did with the Nationals, and not winning a World Series with that team, but I like seeing Dusty Baker on that team, even if it is the Astros. Again, I wasn't rooting for them to beat them, but I gotta admit that I think a Dodgers Astros World Series would have been better.
Mm-hmm.
Astros and Rays World, I mean a Dodgers and Rays World Series. Um, yeah, again, I don't think I could ever get past how Carlos Correa annoys me. Uh, but yeah, he to give credit where credit is due, like he came up in the big spots. He played like his potential. I'm wondering if this is the real Carlos Correa or if he just hit a Rosarena type of streak. He's just
Mm-hmm.
hitting home runs left and right. I don't know. How about Jose Altuve?
The yips, man. I kind of felt
Yeah,
bad. I feel bad for this guy.
I do feel bad for Jose Altuve because I'm still an Altuve fan. Like, regardless of what he was been, I'm an A-Rod fan, man. Like, I could be a fan of anybody. I
I'm
could
a Michael Bolton fan. I celebrate his entire catalog. That's what
Michael
you just
Pollan.
sounded like right now.
Wow.
Office Space. Office Space. No, quoting Office Space. All right, continue. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, I missed out on that quotable Office Space.
Sorry.
I've seen Office Space, maybe not as religiously as you have. But yeah, something's wrong with Jose Altuve. We made a video a couple months ago, how this might be all like eating at his insides, his mental stability when it comes to how they got caught cheating, and he was kind of left as he was the face of the Astros. Now everybody's looking at him like he's a cheater, when before he was revered as this like as the little guy that could and everything. But we saw it for ourselves. Like he couldn't make it was rare that he would make a good throw to first. Some of them were pretty close too. Like he was
Mm-hmm.
bouncing these balls and everything. So yeah, I did feel bad seeing Altuve struggle with the yips.
I wonder if something's it's it's speculation. Clearly, we have no idea what's going through Jose Altuve's head. For all we know, he probably isn't even thinking about the trash cans anymore. Like that's not even a part of his thought process or whatever. But it just feels like I feel like it's too much of a coincidence that the season right after all of the cheating was revealed, that the manager was fired, Carlos Beltran was fired, or not fired really, whatever. Like they parted ways. Alex Cora, people that were involved in that team, Jim Crane is paying tons of dollars, millions of dollars in fines, and so on and so forth. That the season right after we find out about that, he has the worst regular season of his entire career. He was really good in the postseason
Yeah.
offensively, but then it carried into his defense, turned into like he was almost a liability at second. You almost didn't want to involve him defensively in the game because he almost even blew. I think it was Game 6. The Carlos was that the one Carlos Correa walked off on?
Yeah.
That wasn't the walk off game. It was one of those games where he almost blew the game with a defensive blunder, and he was Yuli Gurriel made a crazy catch to save his ass essentially.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, I feel like it just seems like there's something going on there. Like there's something mentally a block that's making him perform worse on the field. And I just have to say that as much as I hate the Astros for cheating, and I feel like I've said this before, and they definitely cheated. And I think that everybody cheated in some way, shape, or form, but the way that they did it, the systemic way that they went about it, um, is horrible and stuff. But at the same time, as I'll keep going, I lay a lot of the blame at the feet of Major League Baseball, man. You don't put a fucking replay room like feet away, a couple of feet away from the dugout,
Yeah.
and not expect these players to go in there and develop a way to find a way to get the edge on somebody. In every game that you play, you try to get the edge on somebody. I don't care what anybody says. Like if you're
Yeah.
playing basketball,
If you're
if you can
serious
get
about winning.
yeah, if you can get away with a travel, you're gonna try to get away with a travel. If you can get away with, I'm gonna put my foot as close as I can to whatever. I don't know. Like I'll stay in the paint for more than 5 seconds if I could. Maybe the ref isn't counting. In football,
Yeah.
I'll fucking hold as much as I can without getting caught. You're gonna try to find an edge. So if that's the philosophy in sports, then stop giving people. You're almost like taking a kid to a candy store, letting them go, and saying don't touch anything. You know what I mean? It's just not gonna happen. So that was a long way of me to say that as much as I blame the Astros, like it's in the past now. Let's move on. Like this they're
Yeah.
not cheating now, and they're in a game 7 of an ALCS. And they, it wasn't like they got blew out either. Like there,
Well,
there was a chance that they could have won that game. There were plenty of chances for them to win that game.
well, actually, you know what? And I wanted to bring this up before because if you're a casual baseball fan that pretty much just watches professional sports and never really played, I mean, professional baseball and doesn't really play. If you ever wondering what the yips are, I know the yip sounds like a joke,
Mhm.
uh, but it's. I feel like I had the yips as a sophomore in high school. I was asked to play second base for the first time ever, pretty much, and that team was horrible, by the way. Not that our team, not that our roster was horrible. I had a weird relationship with our coach. He was like our middle school principal. He was like my high school coach. Uh, but I couldn't make a throw literally from a regular second base position to first base. I must have fucked up like 5 throws in the season that were butter, like cake. It was just the easiest play, and I couldn't do it.
Mhm.
And it's almost like your arm. It's like having like a dead arm. Like you cock back to make a throw, and you have no idea where you're gonna let it go.
Yeah.
You're just guessing at that point, and that's the best way I could probably describe the yips. Obviously, I don't play at the major league level or never got close to that, so I can't imagine what kind of what's going through Altuve's brain. But I said that to say this: the fact that the yips started up in this series makes me think that maybe there is still some cheating going on. I can only speculate, man. I could only
Dike.
Vika, we'll talk we'll mention it later, but you know, it's almost as if like he couldn't get out, like he couldn't get it off his brain that they were doing something wrong. Like if you're not doing
Mm.
anything wrong at that point, you've been through the season already, you kind of got all that out of the way, and then suddenly in the ALCS, like your team is down 3-0, and I don't know. And
Maybe
the
they
fact that you had a guy like Carlos Correa who I don't know if he's ever had a games like this many games in a row performing like this. So I feel like guys were like outperforming themselves on the Astros. So fool me once.
yeah, shame on you.
Mhm.
Or maybe they just got hot at the right time, at the perfect time.
Yeah, that's
I don't
possible.
know.
So I thought
By the
I,
way, yips also a few examples of the yips. If you YouTube Chuck Knobloch, I think it was 1997, had the yips, could not make a throw from second to first.
yeah,
Another good example is Major League Two, I think. The catcher
the
couldn't throw the
catcher.
ball, so he would like get up and run over to the pitcher to hand him the ball and shit. Those are good examples of the yips.
Yeah, I love
It's I almost sorry to interrupt you. I almost relate it as like a mental block,
yeah.
like everything you do, every movement you make, your brain is communicating to a part of your body to make that movement. You're not thinking out in the moment. It's a reflex. You're not really like,
Yeah.
I don't know, I can't even describe it. But when you have the yips, it's like your brain is saying, we're gonna deliver the ball to first, but it can't communicate that over to your arm. So you make the movements like you're throwing a ball, but it goes wherever the fuck, like your
Yeah.
arm. It's almost like your arm just went rogue and said, fuck my body, man. Like I'm on my own now. Like I'm taking this shit in my own hands. I'm sick of this
Yeah.
shit. Sick of you brain telling me what to do all the time. Do my
Yeah.
own shit now. Fuck.
Yeah, and
Sorry.
and it's like twofold because like once you have that, it's like a little sliver of doubt in your brain. I feel
Yeah.
like maybe with almost everything you do, you're gonna have like that one split second of doubt. With the yips, it kind of just keeps snowballing into this bigger thing to the point that
Yeah.
now you're not only not gonna make a good throw, you might not even feel the ball correctly. You might throw it into the stands. If you think it
Mhm.
couldn't get worse, your yips will it will grow the doubt, and now maybe you're throwing the ball to third when there's not even a runner standing there or something. That's probably too extreme, but
Yips, yeah. At
I love
yips with Chuck Knobloch, his yips are so bad that he made a play at first base. I'm trying to remember who it was, but it was against the Indians. He made a play at first, and the umpire, I guess he felt like he was interfered with, so the ball just like rolled away, and he was like screaming at the umpire, like, "What the fuck are you looking at?" Blah blah blah. Meanwhile, the runners are like taking off. I think 2 runners scored while Chuck Knobloch was bitching to the umpires. So like it's literally a mental fucking, just like your brain just stops functioning for a second. Like it
yeah.
just stops thinking about one thing and just like focuses on another. I don't know.
I love
Weird.
how I love how in Major League Two they didn't the catcher had the yips, and the solution was that they gave him like a magazine of women's underwear or
Yeah.
something, and that solved it. And it's like that's not how you solve the yips. I honestly think it's you need to mentally maybe uh
Well, he started thinking about like he liked reading Playboy magazine or something, right? So he started like reciting articles that he read in the
yeah.
magazine. Like, oh, I don't know what's a porn star's name. I can't think of one off the top of my head.
Yeah, me neither.
Jenna
You're not
James. Yeah, right. Let's
yeah, you're not
pretend I can't think of one.
you're not catching me on that one, man. I listen.
Jenna
So
Jameson, 6'2", and then he'd throw the ball and he'd go back. It's like, fuck yeah, it worked.
yeah,
You know what I
yeah.
mean?
Because honestly, that is to me, that is what it is. Like if you're only thinking about making that throw, you might mess up
Yeah,
the
yeah,
throw if you're kind of weak in the head at that point. So what kind of helped me overcome things like that is that I just get the ball out of my hand as quick as possible. Like I feel the ball and I try to just launch it as quick as possible. So I don't have a
yeah,
time to think, like double pump and then make a bad throw anyways or something.
yeah.
Um, I don't know where I was going with that.
So yeah, we went yips. We talked about the yips for a little while here.
Oh, I was gonna say a little more on the yips, the yippity yips.
Mhm.
I'm pretty sure there's yips in football and basketball, like maybe missing like a wide open layup or something.
Oh,
That's
I mean,
really
think
what.
about think sometimes you'll see players that are elite at shooting free throws and they miss like five in a
Yeah,
row. I think that's a yip
maybe
like
maybe I don't
thing.
know what it is though. I feel like it's exposed in baseball because the ball finds you when you're like when Jose Altuve that game the Rays really opened up both of those innings, I think, based off Altuve errors that loaded the bases or put runners in
Hmm.
scoring position both times. So it's like the ball will find you if like it just knows that you're struggling, right? Or even I've seen yips with the pitchers where the pitchers couldn't throw a strike. It's like it's what they're
Yeah,
supposed to do. They're supposed to throw a strike. It's so simple for them to do it, and yet they can't do it, and it just keeps like snowballing. It's with the basketball. I feel like if you have one wide open layup, you're probably not gonna have like another wide open layup for like who knows when. You know, I don't know,
yeah.
but
And a good example of a pitcher with the yips, I think, was Charlie Morton. I forget what game he pitched against the Yankees. 4 or 5. He couldn't throw a strike. There was one inning where I think he threw like 13 consecutive balls or some shit. Like he walked like 3 straight batters, maybe. I can't
yeah,
remember. And they loaded the bases, and I remember texting you guys saying like I just wouldn't swing if I was a hitter now. And then somebody helped him out and swung at a pitch, and he got a strikeout somehow. And then from then on, he was fucking cruising the rest of the way. But like when you're in the moment, you're like, oh, I remember another. I had the yips once.
mm,
CT. I don't know if you
okay,
remember this, but we played in a softball game, and our pitcher.
yeah, okay. I see where you're
I
going with
can't
this.
remember who our pitchers. Do you remember this? How
I
could we
remember.
forget?
Yeah,
And then I was like, fuck, man, I'm gonna have to pitch. So I went up there, and I don't think I threw a single strike. And we're talking soft toss, 6 to 12, and I could not throw a fucking strike. Not six
I
to
know
twelve. That's impossible.
it is.
that's that's a hard on. I meant 12 to 6.
No, okay. Well, the ball might be going 12 to 6, but the usually in those leagues, you have to throw the ball from 6 feet to 12 feet.
Right.
It has to flow over that range. It can't be under 6 feet. It
Oh,
can't be
okay,
over.
gotcha. Can't be
Yeah.
over 12.
Yeah,
And I
you're right.
couldn't throw a strike. Do you remember that? I
Yeah.
think I walked in a few runs,
Yeah. And
probably.
it's hard seeing a friend and a family member struggle like that. The only thing you want to do is take them out of the game, but I don't think we had any options
And
at that point.
you just know when you're in that moment, you just know that everybody is like fucking pissed,
Yeah.
but like you feel helpless too. You're like, damn, man, I can't rescue my team here. I don't know what the fuck is going on. I
Yeah, that's the
cannot
thing.
soft toss a ball.
That's the thing about baseball. It's not I can't just hand my bat over to the next guy.
No.
I can't just like, you know, pass the ball over and let another guy make the throw. Everybody in baseball, you're on an island by yourself for the most part.
And by the way, if you're playing a soft toss 6 to 12 league and you're drawing walks and shit, fuck you, okay? Like swing. Like those balls were not in the strike zone, I admit it, but they were hittable balls. Like I've seen guys launch fucking monster shots with balls like above their head and shit. So you should have helped me out, opponents. That's what I'm trying to say.
So listen, speaking of Charlie Morton, I believe he's the one that opened up either he pitched game 1 or 2, I don't remember. But
Mm,
the Rays played outstanding defense in
yeah.
this series. And it just it's made me think that maybe the Rays weren't even meant to. They won it, credit their credit to give them all the credit, but they almost blew a 3-0 lead. Those first three wins, one of those wins pretty much came off of Altuve's errors,
Mm-hmm.
and the fact that I mean, I'm telling you, I don't look too deep into the stats, but if there's like a barrel profile from both teams, I think the Astros might have had better statistics in terms of exit velocity and barrel
Mm-hmm.
the balls
I think so
than
too.
the Rays.
This Rays team did not, to me, did not look like the team that played against the Yankees. Like
You're
I
right.
felt like the team that played against the Yankees was like, I remember talking about this. Like fucking these guys were impossible to get out. You
Yeah.
know, the fucking guy in third base, Wendell, the giraffe neck. Fucking guy's always on base. But this series, I felt like he was a non-factor. Brandon Lau still a non-factor. I think he hit a home run finally,
One,
but
yeah,
he's
he
still
did.
kind of a non-factor. Really, it's a Rosarena. If a Rosarena wasn't on that team, I don't think they'd go this far. Like
Yeah,
he's offensively, he's carrying the team.
Rosarena and Zunino had those couple of games where he also
Yeah.
went deep. But yeah, the Rays literally have become a home run or nothing. I know they had one game where they didn't hit a home run and won it, but I think that was the Altuve game where the errors were made.
Mm-hmm.
So a part of me almost feels like the Rays are pretenders, man. Even
You
though they're
think
in the
so?
World Series, I don't know. It's hard to tell because if they don't have the home run, they're pretty much not going to score a run. And as I know, Charlie Morton pitched great in his last game, but he was, to me, I watched the game. I mean, the numbers might not show it, but he was a little wild, in my
Mm-hmm.
opinion. And his first start in that series, I mean, they were smacking him around the field. It's just they were making the plays.
Yeah.
They probably have the best, probably have a better defensive team than it's hard to tell against the Dodgers, but the
It's
Rays
weird
are
because
solid defensively.
on the surface they don't feel like a home run or nothing team. They feel like an old school type of team. Like
Yeah.
they feel like they rely on pitching, on defense, contact hitting, but I guess that's not really the truth. They are defensively elite. Like you're right. They
They
keep
are, yeah.
making these insane Manuel Margot, my God, like
Yeah.
he just about won the game for the Rays with a couple of defensive plays. I forget what game it was. One, two or three, one of those. Um Willie Adames made some sick plays at short. G-Man Choi, I don't know how the fuck this guy stretches the way he stretches
Yeah.
at the weight that he is. But yeah, I wasn't watching. But yeah, I
But
don't know, man. And their bullpen is incredible, and their starting rotation, if they're on point, I think I said this at the start of the postseason. To go from Snell or from Glasnow to Snell to Charlie Morton isn't a bad deal. And then you got that bullpen is nonstop. What I don't like, however, I have to admit this now, although I enjoy that there's baseball every day. I don't like not having days off.
yeah, I mean, I don't think baseball players, maybe this year they clearly did, but I don't think Major League Baseball teams play 7 days in a row anymore. Like they have
They
one off day at least. And
they'll
they,
play stretches where they'll play like a 13 game stretch and then they'll have Monday off.
oh, okay.
So they will do it here and there, but what I don't like about it is that you're in the postseason. So
Yeah.
in my opinion, you want to get the best of each team every time you're out there.
Yeah.
And I feel like if you're stretching the series into a 7 game series, by the time you hit game 7, your bullpen is limited. You might have to go to a guy on short rest because you're out of starters. I don't know. I feel like you're not getting, although these games have been really good, I feel like you could be getting better quality. You know what I mean? Like
No,
I don't want it to be that the Dodgers win the World Series, let's say, for example, because it got to a game 7 and the Rays used Nick Anderson 4 days in a row and he's just unavailable because you don't want to blow the guy's arm out. You know what I mean? Like
yeah.
to me, that'll feel like a cheap win almost. I don't know if that makes any sense.
No, it does. Yeah, I agree. I think they should at least have squeezed in like one rest
One.
days, maybe after
Give me
three
one.
games.
Yeah. Give me one. And the
I
same
don't
thing
know.
with starters. I'm gonna go back to game 5, even though the Yankees lost. Garrett Cole pitched a great game, but I would have preferred to have seen like Tyler Glasnow was only going to go one time through the lineup. They won the game again. So, but I would prefer to have seen a fully rested Garrett Cole versus a fully rested Tyler Glasnow or a fully rested Blake Snell or something. Like
Yeah.
give them the days off so that you can have the best of both sides and you see who truly is the best team.
Yeah.
But I'm bitching. On the
And
other side, we didn't talk about Rosarena yet. What the
yeah,
fuck's
yeah.
going on with this guy?
I was gonna say, like, as much as I'm bashing the Rays for being a home run or nothing team, similar to the last time we spoke, uh, if you out homer the other team, you won. That held true, I think, all but one game. I think one of the Dodgers and Braves games probably didn't turn out that way. I think the Dodgers might have hit less home runs in a game and still won it. But for the most part, if you out homer your opponent, you will be winning that baseball game. A Rosarena, ALCS MVP. Um, I don't know what to say about this guy other than what are they feeding these guys in Cuba?
Yeah. And
Another Cuban.
he credits a lot to Mexico because he had a similar journey to Yasiel Puig from Cuba to the big leagues, where I think he lived in Mexico for some time in Tijuana, Mexico. Ay. But this guy, man, this guy's unbelievable. And by the way, this guy, Rosarena, and Marcelo Zuna, two products of the St. Louis Cardinals uh system. They played there together. Like, what the fuck? How is it? I feel like we're seeing this more than ever before with the Miami Marlins. Marcelo Zuna, Miami Marlins too, by the way.
Mhm.
But you see what these players are becoming like after leaving their organization, and you're just like, wow. Like, had these guys just stayed, like Marcelo Zuna and Randy Rosarena on the Cardinals right now, they're probably in the World Series.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it's fucking crazy. Sorry, sidebar. But Rosarena this postseason, he has 21 hits, the most of any player in the postseason. 7 home runs, the most of any player in the postseason. Let me see what else. He has a. I don't like
Seven.
that in MLB.com they have players like a fucking Naylor still there. He hasn't played since
Yeah.
the.
Yeah.
It's annoying. He's hitting 382 on base. 433. He has a 1288 OPS, which is the highest in, I think, of any player in the postseason. That's not true. Josh Naylor has a 2,286 OPS. Fucking idiots.
But he hasn't played since.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, he has the highest of any player that's moved on past the ALDS. The guy's a beast, man. And I'm starting to wonder, is this the real deal? Like, come next season, is this a type of guy that could go high on fantasy drafts? I guess that's the best way I could put it.
You know, that's kind of tough to say. I think he had like what 7 home runs in the regular season.
Yeah, but he only played 14 games.
Oh, yeah. I don't know, man. I feel like every postseason has a guy that stands out and performs that wasn't performing in the regular season. You know, maybe I don't know. A Rosarena. I think he's more of a. If I had to draft today, I'm not drafting him as high as other people would. I think. I
Fact
think I'm
check. He
gonna.
played he played 23 games. My bad.
Ah,
Wait. Sorry, hold on. That's what it says on Baseball Reference. But on MLB.com, it says he played 14 games.
maybe he started 14 games and then played in 23 because you know how the Rays like to shift in and out and make
Yeah.
their catcher play outfield for one game just for that one batter and have him gun
Either
out.
either way, 7 home runs in 23 games is really good, and he
Yeah.
had a 1.022 OPS. So I mean, maybe he's the real deal. And he played with the Cardinal system, but he only played 19 games there.
What is it about being in a system and them not realizing your potential, but then a team like the Rays who only get guys for their potential and then they blossom into
They
major
struck
league
gold with
ball.
this guy.
Yeah,
Fucking crazy.
that's crazy. Maybe the Cardinals are just one of those, they're spoiled with their riches and they're like, we can afford to get rid of a guy like this. I
Luke
mean, we're the
Voigt.
Cardinals. Yeah.
We got Luke Voigt for fucking chasing Shreve. And we could potentially, by we, the Yankees, because I am a member of the New York Yankees organization. Just kidding. You could potentially, because we're not going to talk about this today, but if I were the Yankees, I'd probably try to trade Luke Voigt right now.
You would.
I would. The guy
You
is
would.
homer. The guy just raised his potential. You could potentially get a couple of nice, really good bullpen arms, maybe, or I don't know. Can I trouble you for a high-priced, I don't know,
Do you
pitcher?
not believe we don't have to talk about this today, but do you not believe in like, you know, the wrongness of certain things. Like, you don't feel like a guy like Luke Voigt who did nothing but put the Yankees on his back, like trading a guy like that away. You don't think like the baseball gods would
But
derail your
here's the thing.
organization?
I don't want to trade Luke Voigt, but sometimes an organization is put in a position where they have to make these kinds of moves.
Damn.
Like the Red Sox. Like the Red Sox won the 2018 World Series. Dombrowski, D-U-M-B, Rowski, Dombrowski. For those of you who don't understand what I'm talking about.
Oh, wait. Dombrowski? Oh my god, man, you wordsmith.
Decided to hand out money like he was at a strip club making it rain, and they got in a position where they just could not extend someone like Mookie Betts, and now look at him with the Dodgers. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So
but
sometimes you're put in a position where you have to make these kinds of moves, and the Yankees put themselves in a position now where I'm sorry, Glaber cannot play shortstop. Look at where are we talking about the Yankees? Why? How did this
hey,
happen?
because I just want to say, man, even though it's different, you're comparing apples to oranges. You're comparing Mookie Betts, who was due for a record-breaking contract for a team that couldn't spend any more money, versus
One
a
of the
team.
greatest players of all time.
Yeah, yeah.
How many
But look,
times do you
but look,
see one of the greatest players of all time? I'm gonna wear this like Jay-Z now, just to make a point. Um,
yeah, but
get
even
traded.
even that though, even that situation, which is wrong as from a fan standpoint or like a player, if the from a player standpoint, he probably didn't want to get traded. Even that, look what happened, man. Chris Sale goes down with Tommy John. We suck we don't even, we're out of contention after the first 30 games in the 2020 season. If you trade a guy like Luke Voigt, which is even worse because he's not even paying him anything, and he's more of like, he made his bones with the Yankees, putting the team
Yeah,
on his
no.
back. I just feel like, Zeus Ruth, God Babe Ruth in heaven is going to be like, you know what? You guys don't deserve this shit. Fuck out of here. You're not making the playoffs next year.
I no, but I get it. But I'm not blaming anything on Luke Voigt. I don't want to see him go. I'm really glad to have seen him blossom into the type of player he turned into. But we've seen some weaknesses that this team has, and I feel like unfortunately he's the odd man out. And I don't know. You know what I mean? Like I can't see who else could go. Like if you want to retain DJ LeMahieu, um, he's gonna cost a lot of money. And I feel like Glaber at short weakens the team. Like in many ways, Game 5 is on Glaber's shoulders. It's not necessarily on, in my opinion, it's not on Chapman's shoulders. Like he made a horrible defensive blunder that ended up costing the Yankees a couple of runs, which is the difference in the game. You know what I mean? Like
If I was the Yankees, I would take this opportunity to extend Gleyber Torres with a low ball offer and be like, you're really a second baseman. Like, you're not even, you
you're
really
not a short.
shouldn't.
I'm sorry, man.
Yeah.
I know he's supposedly a shortstop, but I wouldn't put him back at short next year. The guy's
Yeah.
a fucking
Okay.
atrocious at shortstop.
Yeah. I
I
agree.
could play better shortstop. Just kidding.
Let's
Anyway, enough
let's
with the
talk
Yankees.
let's talk about the Dodgers and the
Okay,
Braves for a little bit.
Mookie
I thought
Betts, man.
I thought the
Oof.
Braves I thought the Braves were gonna win last night. Uh but if you watch the game, the Dodgers won.
Mm-hmm.
Did you see how Cody Bellinger popped his shoulder when he was celebrating his home run?
Yes.
Do you see why we don't want to eliminate the home run trot?
Um, that actually makes a case for why you should eliminate the
Yeah,
home run trot.
that was supposed to throw you off. I'm glad you caught that. Nice, nice to know you're awake. Yeah.
But I don't want to throw away the home run trot. I'm just trying to think of ways to make the game
I know.
move a little quicker. That's all. Kike Hernandez should be fined or some shit by the team. Like, how dare you almost hurt our second best player on the team?
Yeah.
But he was back in the game, so they seems like they popped it back in. Everything seems fine. I will
Yeah.
say that if it turns out that he has to like he can't play because of this, that could be like a game changer
One of
for
the
the
dumbest
Dodgers.
things. Yeah, one of the dumbest things that. Well, who was it? Oh man, Kendrys Morales.
Yeah, with
Was it
the
Kendrys
home plate, it
Morales?
was a walk off. I think it was Kendrys Morales with the Angels, right?
Yeah.
It was a home plate like celebration or some
Yeah,
shit.
he did his little jump into home plate, the Ortiz style, and then
Yeah,
I don't know, broke his ankle or tore his ACL or something. I don't know. It was stupid though. But the Dodgers came back from 3-1.
hmm
I thought Braves played great. I thought their pitching was great. I would have personally liked to see. I'm happy with I'm going for the Dodgers, by the way. Just jumping ahead.
Lakers.
I was gonna go for whatever national team made it into the World Series. As much as I want to see Kershaw in the playoffs, I feel like Kershaw keeps thinking it up in the playoffs more often than not. So I was
Mm.
more of like I want to see Freddie Freeman and Acuna and even Ozuna in the World Series. But I gotta say that I'm happy for Mookie and Kershaw and guys like Justin Turner and even Bellinger, which I'm becoming more and more of a fan of Bellinger, even though he's also becoming like home run or nothing. It's it's exciting to see Bellinger like hit his home runs and make plays in the outfield. I think he's becoming an even better defensive outfielder.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm happy with the Dodgers. But
He was playing center last night, right?
I think Bellinger's been playing center all this time. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like he's become their I mean, you're not gonna play right field over Mookie. Let's just
No, I know, but center field is, you're the captain of the outfield essentially. But he is a really good defensive outfielder, so good for them.
yeah, man.
Fucking
And I just
Dodgers.
love how, you know what, even though I'm a Red Sox fan, I love how Mookie everything about Mookie was like put on display
Yeah,
just to make us Red Sox fans eat it. Like yeah, look at what we had and
that
gave
hurts.
away. I'm happy. No, I'm actually happy because we deserve to see shit like that, man. Honestly, like for the people that could have signed them, they deserve to see shit like that. Mookie
Oh man,
saved games with his defense, got on base, stole bases, scored
he's
runs.
he's. I said it on Twitter today, and maybe it's a reaction of that home run robbery that he committed yesterday. But I think I'm ready to declare Mookie the best player in baseball, man. I'm ready to put him above Trout,
And
and
that
it's because it's not even like Trout is for sure like a once in a lifetime type of talent, but I feel like Mookie can do everything at a super high level.
yeah.
He can defend. He could be the best outfielder in baseball, whatever he feels like it. He could be the best hitter in baseball. He could hit home runs. He can steal bases. He could do everything. He's fucking the guy is incredible, man.
Yeah. I think Mookie, I think regardless of how his career ends up with accolades and awards and everything, I think we'll always remember Mookie as like one of the best 5 tool players to play the game,
Yeah,
especially in a day like in today's age where everybody is performing with power, right?
hmm
Um,
and he
and
fucking bowls, man. He's a
and I
bowler.
and I think yeah, and he bowls. And honestly, looking at both rosters, I know it's the team with the most wins in the AL versus the team with the most wins in the NL, but just the fact that the Dodgers have Mookie out of of all players, I just got to give it to the Dodgers.
Yeah, man. I'm sorry that you guys lost. Listen, I know I talk a lot of shit, but it sucks that you guys ended up losing Mookie Betts, man. I'm not even rubbing that in.
I know it does
It
suck,
just
but
sucks.
like I'm still a Mookie fan, so seeing him live up, like play to his potential, it makes me happy to see Mookie in the
And
World
there's
Series
just
again.
nothing to dislike about the guy.
Yeah.
Like you have guys like Carlos Correa who people love to hate.
Hmm.
Um, just look around the field. Even a guy like Cody Bellinger, you might have something that you might not like about Cody Bellinger. Maybe it's his face. I don't know what it is.
Yeah.
He looks like he's high all the time or some shit. Aaron Judge, like probably the most considered one of the most likable players. He plays New York, walking out of Fenway Park. Like Mookie wouldn't do shit like that. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? Um, so I'm a Mookie, and I was a Mookie fan with the Red Sox, but thank God he's out of the AL East. That's all I'm gonna say.
It seems
Um,
it seems like the guys I expected to hit home runs out of Atlanta, like Freeman, Acuna. I know Ozuna hit some home runs. But I'm not sure if Freddie Freeman
I think he
hit
hit a home run
in the last 3 games.
in the last three. I don't know, but
I
I'm
know I know
pretty
he hit a
sure
I know he hit a 2-run home run, I think, with Acuna on base. But even Acuna, I don't think Acuna had a home
Acuna had a
run.
2 home run game. The Kershaw game, he had 2 home runs.
Oh, okay. Well, still, guys like that. I mean,
Did
I
I say
think
Acuna? I meant Osuna.
Osuna had a. I know Osuna did. Yeah,
Yeah,
I don't think Acuna had a home run in the Dodger series.
I felt like he was a non-factor in a way. Like
Yeah,
I
he still
didn't,
got on
you didn't.
base a good amount of
Yeah,
times.
I know Ozzy Albies had a big home run. Osuna was good. Freeman is fucking great as always.
Also, I realized watching baseball these last couple of weeks that manager decisions, like pulling a pitcher too early or leaving him in too late, is just a complete random crapshoot. Like Dave Roberts decided to go with Dustin May in the first in for to yesterday's game 7.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't look great. Gave up 1 run, takes him out, which to me looked like the panic decision. Because at least let him get through. At least let him get once through the lineup. The guy throws 100 miles per hour. How bad can it get? And then
Yeah.
the guy he brings in, who's a good relief pitcher, Gonsolin or whatever his name is, ends up giving up a home run anyways.
Hmm.
I just think it's complete randomness with the Rays. Nick Anderson only gave up 1 home run the entire regular season. Gives up 1 in the Yankees series. Gives up 2, I think, in the Astro series.
Yeah.
Maybe it was just 1. I don't know. But still, the guy that you go to for a situation still fails. I just think it's random. I don't think there's no right way to do it, pretty much.
I think it's you're just playing odds. Like, what are the chances if I go to May for the second inning versus if I go to a fresher arm out of the bullpen that doesn't give up more often than not doesn't give up home runs? What are my odds? What's the best odds? You're just playing odds. You're playing fucking. You're counting cards essentially. That's what you're doing in
Yeah.
baseball. I think that's all it is now. And I don't know if I should mention this now. We're not affiliated with Arskina yet, so I can say it. I was high as fuck in one of the games, and I started thinking about something we talk about with analytics and stuff. And in my mind, the visual was fucking perfect, but I'll try to explain as much as I can.
All right.
Baseball now is almost like a guy playing. It's like playing chess. Like it's the players on the field. All they are chess pieces, and there's a guy or girl, depending on how you see it, who's maneuvering those chess pieces, who plays all the analytic games. Like, he's thinking to himself, to move, I'm gonna move my what do you call them? Fuck. Like,
Pawns.
my pawns. Sure. I'm gonna move this pawn because chances are whatever, 7%, whatever. And I think that's why the game is becoming less and less likable by fans, because you're taking the decision making,
The heart.
you're limiting people's skills because it's some guy up there making all the decisions. It's not you on the field. Like, I feel like there was a time where a manager might say to you're a good base runner, so I'm gonna set you free. You can run if you want. Like, try to make something happen on the field. I feel like you can't do that anymore. I feel like that's not allowed in baseball anymore. I feel like a manager doesn't call for a bunt. And I get it. Chances are that's the wrong move to make, but sometimes that move works. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Sometimes that puts pressure on the opposing team, and those are like the human instincts of you, is you take chances. With these guys counting cards, the imaginary guy moving the chess pieces on the board doesn't take chances. He just looks at the odds and makes the moves that way. And I feel like that's why the game has become, I'll have to admit it, like, some of these games are entertaining, but for the most part, if you're sitting there for an entire baseball game, I have to admit you're bored half the time. Like, there's no movement on the field. You're either striking out, you're hitting a home run, or you're drawing a walk. That's all that's happening. I'm not seeing a lot of defensive plays being made on the field. I know we talked about the Rays and G-Man Choi and Willie Adames, but those things happen. Maybe you collect 2 or 3 outs over the span of an entire game that way. The rest of them are strikeouts, or the rest of them are fucking fly balls. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, that was a good analogy. Looking at it like it's a guy just moving the chess pieces and trying to, outthink.
There's no spontaneity. There's no
Yeah,
spontaneity. That's the word
it's
I'm
like
looking for.
and that's a good way to look at it. But it's just like these guys don't, look at Altuve's yips. How can you calculate? How can you even put that into how can you quantize that? Like that word?
Quantify.
Quantify,
We'll keep yours. I like it. Quantize.
quantize. Quantify. How can you quantify the yips? How can you quantify pitcher's mental state when a guy, like when the Astros bunted the 2 runners over and then the
Yeah.
next hit drives them in, which I love, by the way. Like, I don't think you can't just eliminate those factors from the game. I think games do have a pulse.
Yeah, for sure.
And I
Like
think that
like
whatever the outcome is,
the
go ahead.
Yankees with the Davy Garcia game. Like, I think maybe that was the game that I smoked way too much weed. So um that was the game where I thought, I was like, what the like, why are you taking him out? You gave him 1 inning, like
Yeah.
at least let him go through the line. Or you might see maybe the next inning he comes up and he strikes out the side, and you're like, oh shit, like this guy, he settled in. Maybe he can give us a good 6 innings here. But instead, you're not allowed to make decisions like that anymore. And like you're not allowing your players to you're not allowing the human element to come in and take over. Like I don't know. It's frustrating. It's starting to frustrate me, and I'm starting, and as an analytical guy, I'm starting to look at it and think that there has to be a way where you can kind of police that a little bit. And I don't know how you could do it. Maybe
You mean like
I don't
take
even
out? You mean like not allow teams to put a number on everything type of police
no, you
or
put a number on it, but I'm more and more in favor of banning the shift. Maybe you don't ban it altogether, but you make up some new rules. Like there are you have a first baseman, a second baseman, a shortstop, and a third baseman in the infield, and the catcher, but the catcher doesn't really do much. I'm thinking like you draw a line straight down the center of the field, and if a second baseman and a first baseman can't cross over that line over to the left field side of shit, of the left side of the field, and the shortstop and the third baseman can't cross to the right side, and just limit it that way. Like try to make things happen, try to get some action going on the field. Like we have to, as much as I understand that your chances of winning a game are higher if you get the ball in the air and hit home runs, I want to find a way to create incentives for teams to see an opening and say, I'm going to try to hit that shit. Like I'm going to try to get it on the ground over to this side because they can't shift me anymore. You know what I mean? Like try to make things happen. Like I don't know. I just feel
you
like
know,
the game has become too like monotone in a way. Like you
yeah.
kind of know what's gonna happen, you know?
And it's funny, like it's like the 3-point argument for NBA. I think that the 3-point shooting or attempts are ridiculous,
Mm-hmm.
but I'm pretty sure the stat goes that if you're the team that made more threes, you're probably winning that game. Same thing as the home run quote, like if you out homer the other team, then you'll win the game. Well, that kind of makes sense if everybody's trying to out homer themselves or out homer the next guy or how out homer, just hit a home run every at bat. That kind of makes sense. If everybody's trying to hit home runs and you happen to be the team that hit more home runs that day, you're probably winning that game. But I just can't imagine that a team, let's say you have 9 Michael Brantleys versus 9
Aaron Judges.
okay, but you see, Aaron Judge puts the ball in play. When he puts the ball in play, he's most likely finding a hole. I'm trying to think of like,
Like a home run or nothing type
yeah,
guy.
let's say a Rosarena minus every other hit that he got or whatever.
Okay.
You know, if you have a lineup of 9 Rosarenas versus 9 Michael Brantleys, I would put my money on the Michael Brantleys because
Yeah.
every at bat that Michael Brantley had was a good at bat, pretty much. He puts the ball in play. He went the other way. Doesn't always have to hit a home run. The Arozarena, I mean, I think he didn't homer in the one loss they had to the Astros. It's like if this guy doesn't homer,
They don't win.
there's nothing. Yeah. So it's like it's I'm not saying it's a guaranteed you're gonna win with the guy that makes more contact, but I just can't. I don't know why people aren't trying to make more contact. I don't understand
I
why it has to be a home
yeah.
run. Like,
I just think that the most exciting baseball we saw for our generation was before the launch angle revolution, and like um maybe right after the 90s or something, when the steroid era started to kind of dwindle out a little bit. I'm thinking of teams like the Los Angeles Angels. I think it was in 2000, and when did they went to the World Series? Did they win the World Series?
yeah, they did 2002.
2, maybe 2002.
I think it was 2002.
And they just made shit happen on the field. Like they would take that extra base. You know, if a guy hit what would be a single on a regular in a regular game, he was taking a chance and trying to take second base, make something happen on the field, make the other outfielder have to make a split decision. You know what I mean? I feel
Mhm.
like now players aren't allowed to do that. Like you're not allowed to go to steal that base because you don't want to make an out on a steal. You're not allowed to try to stretch out for what is a single, try to stretch it out into a double because you don't want to make that out for your team. But when in reality, those things are what makes the game exciting. Those are the things that makes makes you want to hooks you. It makes you want to stay and watch the game.
Yep.
I feel like that's not the case anymore. Like I feel like all we're seeing is a ton of strikeouts, insane home runs, which are entertaining to watch, I'll admit. and that's it. And that kind of sucks in my
Yeah,
opinion.
the home runs are entertaining, but what's not entertaining is a final score of 2-1
Yeah.
via the home run. Yet every other out was just a strikeout or a double play.
Right.
Like that's not entertaining.
Right. So yeah, let's move on.
Predictions.
Okay. I'm gonna go Rays, man, and I'm gonna go Rays for a biased reason. I'm gonna go Rays because I really want Rodney Linares to get a World Series, man. I've never rooted for a third base coach more in my entire life, man. But this guy has been in baseball for over 20 years, and he's in the big leagues now. And I really want him to get a big league job, and I want him to have that World Series ring so that he can go into these meetings and say, "I can get you one of these, motherfucker."
And you
You know what
think
I
the
mean?
Rays could really win this?
I think the Rays could. And you know what else? Another reason why I want the Rays to win is because I've been thinking about this a lot, and that a team can build, that an organization can build a team like that with so little money. Teams like the Yankees should be embarrassed. Like, let's be honest. They're spending almost 10 times more than the Rays, and they're like they're not at this point here. If I'm Hal Steinbrenner, I'm like, are you fucking kidding me, Brian Cashman? I just threw $250 million on the table. You can't get me to the ALCS. You know what I mean? Like, you can't get me a World Series, just an appearance in the World Series. We have one World Series since 2000. That's all we've won. One in 20 years. Are you fucking kidding me?
Yeah.
And the Rays, you know, when you think of the Rays, you don't think of them like the Oakland Athletics, like ultra analytical. You don't think of them like any other team in baseball. I feel like they're a unique brand, and I feel like they're just one of those teams that they're fun to watch, in my opinion, and I hope they win. Although I do want to see Clayton Kershaw get a ring because I can't stand the Kershaw hate, man.
Yeah, I don't like the Kershaw hate either, but I also feel like Kershaw gets more of a leash than any other pitcher will get today in both teams. Like if the guy has been through the lineup twice or three times and then two guys get on base, he will be allowed to finish that inning by Dave Roberts, I guess. And I don't know if that's because they have an understanding where Kershaw's like, listen, motherfucker, I'm one of the greatest pitchers of all time. So you don't take me out like until I give up the lead or something.
Right.
So I don't know what it is. I'm pretty sure the stats will show it. I feel like if he was managed like every other pitcher, they could maybe stop the bleeding sooner than later with Kershaw. But I think he has more underperforming performances than good ones in the postseason now. And I do want to see Kershaw get a ring. I want to see Mookie get a second ring. Uh, Justin Turner too, man, just to rub it in the Mets face. I want to see that guy get his as well.
How
And
could they
again,
blow? How could they blow Justin Turner, man? The guy even has the hair for the organization, the
yeah,
Mets. Like, his hair matches one of their colors. You know what I
yeah.
mean?
I like a lot of the guys, and I like the Rays too. Like I like a Rosarena. I kind of like Blake Snell, even though he's kind of getting a little annoying to me as well. Um, and I like guys on both teams, but I can't ignore that. I think the Astros had that series, if not for Altuve's errors and
Yeah.
outstanding defense by by the Rays.
Mm-hmm.
They're currently the team with the most home runs in the postseason, but the Dodgers have given up way
The
less home
fewest.
runs, the fewest home runs. It's not going to be as easy to get some of those home runs as they got with the previous teams.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, both teams are solid defensively. Both teams can hit. Corey Seager and Rosarena are the two hottest hitters, and they happen to be on the opposite sides.
Yeah.
So I'm not convinced with the Rays, and I will not be picking them. I'll be picking the Dodgers. Let's go Mookie. Let's go Kirsch. And yeah,
I want the Rays to get one, just one championship, and
nah,
and
you don't know what kind of ripple effect that's gonna have, man. I don't know if you know what you're asking for. You're looking at organizations never signing a player to a good deal again, which could lead to players never wanting to strive for greatness again, which could lead to lack of talent in the MLB. So careful what you wish for if the Rays win this World Series.
I feel like as long as it's all relative, we'll be good. Like I don't know. I feel like if it's all relative, we're gonna be fine. Like if every team's talent equates the other team's talent, we're not gonna look at it. These players are of lesser, quality. You won't be able to tell. You'll be like, oh, look, like we're winning, yay!
Okay.
I don't even know what I just said,
Yeah, I don't
man. But
really kind of lost me
uh,
a
I'm
little
going
bit.
Rays.
All right. I'm going Dodgers. LA. You know?